So many Canadians are familiar with this story. After a lifetime of raising a family and creating memories, downsizing can become a daunting task of sorting through all the stuff, all the stuff that you've picked up along the way. The Art of Downsizing is a new documentary focusing on the toll this can take. Filmmaker Geeta Sondhi is here with us in studio. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Lindsey.
I want to talk about the title and that word art, the art of downsizing. Why that choice?
Well, because it is true. It is not just something that you do off the cuff. I mean, it takes a lot of strategy. It takes a lot of thinking. And what you're doing is you're not just downsizing, you're right-sizing.
Right-sizing.
An art.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, this was a personal journey for you. How come?
Well, because I helped my mother a few years ago to downsize. And what I learned at that time was that, this is so much about legacy. It's about what, where you're coming from, all of the objects that you have memories infused with them. I used to do a decluttering series. I did 40 episodes of a decluttering series long before Marie Kondo. And I learned a lot about what that entailed. But when you're younger, it's different. When you're older, you're really dealing with objects that are infused with the past, and it's about where did you come from? What do these objects mean about where you came from, and what are you passing down?
It's so interesting. You follow three individuals in this. So Bill, you follow Kathleen, or Mama, as she's called, and Barbara. And one of the interesting parts of this film, I thought, was really the difference when we talk about downsizing and what that means for different people. When we look at Barbara, she has all these family heirlooms. And, there's a scene in the documentary where she's with her daughter and saying, and this is the moment here. And she's saying, well, don't you want the things that I've been saving and collecting for all these years? And the next generation says, not really. That's tough.
It's really hard. This is such an emotional process. We were talking earlier. It's such an emotional film. How do you reconcile yourself with the fact that something that you believe is so precious that the next generation maybe doesn't want it,
And then you've got Bill, another example in this film, who has literally saved all of the things from the past and the past generations. In fact, he spent $500,000 in 20 years on storage lockers.
It's extraordinary. And, through the process of downsizing, we follow him on this journey. He goes from sort of being completely overwhelmed by this avalanche of antiques that his wife has inherited from her family, and to a point where he says, you know what, I have to get rid of this.
Yeah, it's a really emotional journey that you take us on through these characters. What did you learn about the art of downsizing? For somebody watching right now going, okay, I'm right at the doorstep here. This is my life. I'm going to be moving on. What did you learn?
What I learned more than anything was that if you think about downsizing, you will get caught in sort of this conundrum of, I can't keep everything, what do I keep?
For sure.
You'll be looking at items and you'll constantly be thinking, but this is my great-grandmother's. This is when I did this with, with my first love. If you think instead about right-sizing, you're not going to be thinking about the past, you're going to be thinking about the future.
And when you say right-sizing, imagine yourself in that next place and what that space looks like to you?
Precisely.
Yeah, that's so tough, though, with the emotional connection with a lot of things.
It's tough with the emotional connection, but, we've also, as a society, we've reached an intersection. We've got a demographic tipping point. People are older. We've got in the next decade, we're going to have increasingly more older people than younger people. We've got a fraying healthcare system. We've got a housing crisis. And we all need to start thinking towards the future. And if we are in comfortable living environments as we age, we're not going to be taxing that healthcare system so much. So downsizing actually has implications for all of us. We need to start thinking about the future.
And as emotional as it is, there is a freedom to it, to getting rid of this stuff.
Right? It sets you free in a way. It really does. And, Mama in the film, she said, she's so lovely, right? What a woman.
So lovely.
Incredible. Yeah. And she says, I watch my mother and I watch my grandmother and my children will be watching me. And what you start to realize is it's very much about who you are that you pass on, not what you pass on.
I think that's the absolute right note to end this on, Geeta. Congratulations on a wonderful film.
Oh,
thanks for talking to us today.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here. And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.